Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Nadia. Welcome to our broadcast of Take Off Your Cape. And we have just about probably less than a minute or so to go before we actually go live. So go ahead and grab your pen, your notepad, grab your favorite beverage, and get ready for a great broadcast today where we talk about, three keys to less stress and increase profits in your business when you take off your cape. So we're going to get started at the top of the hour. I know everyone's time is very valuable. And if you're new, head on over to our private Facebook group at www.powerprofitsmovement.com. That's powerprofitsmovement.com, and say hello and post any of your comments or your questions there. Would love to hear from you. So I'm going to go ahead and check that really quickly. I know everyone's time is very valuable. And all right, so welcome to today's broadcast. My name is Dr. Nadia Brown, and I am so excited to be with you today for today's broadcast. And this is part of our Power Profits Academy, which is actually a Doyen leadership brand specifically for women entrepreneurs, or what we love to call womenpreneurs, and all that we have going on. So today I just want to dive right into our content. Take off your cape. Three keys to less stress. How many of us can use less stress in our lives and increase profits? There are two things that I definitely want you to walk away with from today. And that is one, I want you to walk away with keys, ideas, strategies, tips that you can implement right away to reduce the stress in your business, but also to help you increase your profits. So again, grab that pen. I have my pen in my hand because, ideas come as we train. But then also to be able to reduce the amount of stress in your business. So if you're looking at your business, you're looking at the numbers, we're now moving a lot faster, it seems, closer to the end of the year, then this can all seem a lot overwhelming. The second piece to that is for those of you who are like, you know what, I know this is going to be great and I still want to have questions, or I will have questions. This is going to, probably bring up some stuff for you. Know that I will share ways with you that we can connect after today's broadcast so that you can ask those questions and get the support that you need. And as we look at this topic of take off your cape, there's one question I want to just dive right in and ask, it's come up for me, it's come up for colleagues, it's come up for friends, clients, the whole gamut is this question is, are you willing to receive support? Are you willing? And I just wanted to just set that right there. We'll come back to that, but I want you to write that down and I want you to personalize it. Am I willing to receive support? So if you are a woman entrepreneur, you're thinking about becoming one and you're looking at all this you have going on. Many of us are wives, we're moms, we volunteer, we do all these different things, we take care of everyone else. And then on top of that, we have the nerve, the audacity to say, you know what, I want to have a business. So if this is you and you're like, I'm juggling a lot of things, I have a lot of balls in the air, I don't know what I'm going to do with all that I have, and I have some pretty lofty revenue goals. Like, let's just be honest. I know me personally, I'm a big dreamer. I push myself, I push my clients. I have people in my life that push me. And so if that's you too, you're like, I have very audacious goals. I have lofty goals. There are things that I want to accomplish. There are things that I know I want to achieve. And I haven't quite figured this thing out. Then this is for you. And this is also for you if you're like, you know what, Dr. Nadia, let's just be honest. I feel like I'm stuck. And when you think about all that you have going on and all that you desire, and you're probably looking at your vision and your goals, like, you know what, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is for you. And again, we're going to go back to that question. And it's something that's that my coach has been asking, are you willing to receive support? And there are days when I have to ask myself that very question. So know that while I am the one today leading this training, I'm also, again, taking away some significant nuggets as well. So a couple things that we're going to talk about today is one, the myth of being the superwoman. And I don't know what it is about us ladies, but we just feel like it is our obligation to take on all this other stuff, dealing with our kids stuff, our families, our spouses, our clients. That's not our job. So we're about the myth of being a superwoman. And, say something, post in a Facebook group if you've ever said this or heard this, especially recently. If I want it done right, I have to do it myself. Like, how many of us have done that or said that? And that is clearly not the case. So don't forget to join us in our private Facebook group at powerprofitsmovement.com. That's powerprofitsmovement.com. You can post your comments. You can post your questions. I'll be popping in over there to check them out. So head on over to powerprofitsmovement.com. Definitely want to make sure that we get connected so that you can get answers to your questions. But today we're just going to, like I said, dive right in. So we're going to talk about the myth of the superwoman syndrome. We're also going to discuss strategies to hiring help. Like, let's just be honest. We all need help. And help often looks very different depending on what season of life that you're in, whether it's in life or in your business or both. So we're going to look at that. And then we're also going to discuss simple keys. We're going to share 3 specific ones to fire yourself. So write that in your notes. You're fired. And you, in this instance, is yourself. You're fired. And one thing that I have learned and I've gotten better at is writing myself pink slips. Just, you know what, Nadia? It's been a great run. And yeah, we're not doing this anymore. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're in that place right now, you're a womanpreneur and you're juggling a lot, you're balancing a lot, you don't know how you're going to get it all done, and you're starting to really see that this notion of you doing everything in your business is truly hindering your profits. It's holding back. So we're going to look at that today. So I just really want to dive right into the content today. But before I do, let me just share a little bit about myself with you. Again, Dr. Nadia here. I launched the Power Profits Academy about a year ago. I'm really excited because I just have a heart for womanpreneurs and women in business. And honestly, I was a little reluctant. I was that reluctant person to really jump in there and do that. But I originally launched Doyen Leadership Institute to help women really improve on and build out and step fully and confidently into their leadership roles. And one of the things that I learned through that process was that, you know what, building a business is tough. And there are a lot of different things that come up for us. And one of the things that came up for me and a lot of my colleagues was this whole thing of we're doing a lot of stuff by ourselves. And I saw with my clients, and we were just really, dealing with things around building a business and trying to balance it. I have a spouse, I have a family, we don't have children, but, I volunteer, and then we have a lot of different things going on. And so it was just like, you know what? How do I do this? How do I get out of this place of trying to do all of this stuff myself? And let me tell you something. I made a mess of a lot of things in my business, both trying to do things by myself and also, quite frankly, in building a team and having people on my team. And so I've worked with clients where it's like, Nadia, how do I bring on the right person? How do I bring on a team where I can hit the ground running because I don't have the bandwidth to hold someone's hand or do these different things? And again, I have very strategic goals and very lofty revenue goals that I want to hit. I travel a lot. I have a family. I have balance. Like, there's so many different things that come up. And so with that, I was like, you know what? We need to have this conversation because I noticed it, and it's something that comes up is we don't take care of ourselves. And I want you to write this down in your notes. Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. And if you're in the Facebook group, go ahead and post that. Self-care is not selfish, because we need to understand that taking care of ourselves isn't selfish, that it really is important that we take care of ourselves in order to take care of those around us. So let's just start with this whole myth of this superwoman. because we feel like, you know what, I'm gonna put on my cape. And so, I didn't bring my cape today. I've actually taken it off. I needed to take it off and just lay it aside and really, accept that help. But understanding that self-care isn't selfish, and really looking at this myth of the superwoman. So for a moment, I just want you to kind of sit back. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine right now a skyscraper. And in this skyscraper, I want you to believe and imagine that this skyscraper is your corporate headquarters. And it's all that you ever wanted it to be. Like if you were able to really just think about if you had like a penthouse office suite and you were at the top, like what would that building look like? And what kind of view would you have? And what story would you be on? And all that kind of great stuff. I just want you to take a moment and imagine that with me for a moment. So go ahead and close your eyes if you can, and just think about that for a second. What would that look like for you? What would you have in your office? What would you have in your surroundings? What would your team look like for just one moment? I want you to just take a second and do that. All right, so everyone has something in their minds. Perfect. And now I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to just think about, and if you're in the Facebook group, go ahead to powerprofitsmovement.com. That's powerprofitsmovement.com, and you can post some of the imagery that came up for you in that. And I want to ask you this question because, I've done this exercise with other groups, and some of the feedback is, I would have a building that's like 30 stories tall. One lady said her floors would be revolving. Like it was all decked out. It was fabulous. But here's the question. It is not about the building, but here's the question that I want to ask you. If I were to come on today and say, hi, I'm Dr. Nadia, and we're going to talk about building buildings. And I'm so excited. And I showed you a picture of this amazing skyscraper. And then I proceeded to tell you that I was going to build this skyscraper by myself. What would you say to me? What would you say? Like you would be thinking like, well, hold up, Dr. Nadia. That is impossible. No one builds a one-story building by themselves, much less a skyscraper. Like seriously. Here's the thing that I want you to understand. When you think about your vision and you think about the big vision that you have for your business and for your life, one of the things that you cannot do is do it alone. And so this whole idea of being a superwoman is overrated. Write that down. It's holding us back. Being a superwoman is overrated. Are there times that we need to put on our cape and put on our big girl panties and jump in and do things? Absolutely. But there are also times when doing all of that really hinders us from achieving the goals that we want to achieve in our lives. And so we have to, one, be willing to ask for help. Write this in your notes. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's not. And I get it. I was raised to be a strong, independent woman. I could go home and make the bacon and bring it home and fry it up in the pan. Like I could do all that. That was the way that I was raised. And I lived that way for a very long time. And then there are days I've tolerated because there are times when you need help, whether it's in your business or at home. So we're going to talk about strategies of bringing the right people in. And the first strategy is being clear about the role. So the first thing you need to do is be very clear about the role that it is that you are looking for within your business. Okay? Be very clear. And it doesn't have to be business. Let me just make that delineation. It doesn't have to be in your business. Because how many of us have a home? We live somewhere and the home needs to be taken care of, right? So there are things that need to take place. And quite frankly, there are a lot of responsibilities that, in spite of the fact that it is now 2016, there are still some things that are really old school, right? And so housekeeping tends to still a lot of that falls on women. taking care of kids, whether you choose to be stay at home or a mompreneur and you manage all that stuff or whatever the case may be, the truth of the matter is, whether by choice or not, that tends to be the case. So when you're talking about being clear about the role, I want you to be clear about where do you need the most support now? Where can you get started now? And sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean in your business. That could be very well, I need a nanny to come in and help out while I get some things taken care of in my business. It could mean hiring a housekeeper to get some things done in your business and your home so that it frees you up to get things done in your business. I remember the first time I hired the first time my housekeeper came over to clean our home, I felt some kind of way. And I just want you to write this in your notes. And this is something that my coach says to me, and she says it a lot to remind us that guilt is a choice. And we have to learn to let that go. Guilt is a choice. And I was choosing to feel guilty about the fact that I was here in my office handling business while someone else was cleaning my home. And she did an amazing job. And my husband came home and he was so stinking excited. And it just really, it made my day because he didn't have to do it. I didn't have to do it. Things got done, but I was able to continue to be productive in my business. So when you think about it, I want you to look at your life holistically. Is it a nanny? Is it a housekeeper? Is it a virtual assistant? Is it now time for you to hire someone to do a lot more of this technical stuff, a project manager in your business, an event manager in your business, an online business manager? Like there's so many different pieces to that. And even if you're just starting out, I want you to start thinking ahead. Like, you know, when I get to this point, and now that's one of the things that you get to this point, now it's time to start bringing in some additional help because you're not going to get to 7-8 figures. Like I work with some amazing ladies and they have some very lofty goals. And there are just some things that aren't going to happen as quickly and as easily as you would like them to happen if you're trying to do everything by yourself. So when you think about bringing on the right people, you have to be clear. Clarity helps to eliminate drama. Write that down. Clarity eliminates drama. Because, and you've probably been on either side of that, especially for any of us who've had a job. You were hired, you thought you knew what you were being hired for, and then when you got there, it was a whole lot of confusion. And you're like, I can't support you if I don't know what it is that you want me to do for you. The same is true when you're starting to bring on team members. Make sure that you are clear about the role that they will serve and what it is that you need them to do and provide them with the tools to be successful. Okay? The second strategy is for you to be very organized. One of the challenges we have and why we don't bring on new team members is we're just all over the place. We don't know whether we're coming or going, and it really makes it very. So you want to make sure that you're organized and not overly organized. Like, you know, that's not what I'm saying. And if so, you may want to start with a professional organizer to help you get organized. But what I am saying is being organized in thought. That also comes with clarity so that you can provide that level of support to your new team member in that direction. Because again, as a small business owner and you're building your team, you don't have a whole lot of time, or you don't have the luxury to have a whole lot of miscommunications or a super long ramp up time. So you want to be organized so that you can shorten that learning curve as quickly as possible. But clarity eliminates drama. Organization helps you to truly step into that leadership role that you have and to be able to provide that direction. So you want to have those conversations, and it may just be just jotting down a list of here are the things that I need, putting together that plan. Here are the people that I need. One of the things that I have clients do, and I've done it myself and shared it with my accountability, is I put together an organizational chart. Some of those positions are filled. Fabulous. Some of those positions are not. that is just future. But it's the organization and to start to pull together processes and procedures and documenting how did I do things, or how would I like to see things done, or how did I see that, so that you're able to share that information and provide that to your team members as they come on board. All right. So you definitely want to take that time, but you have to be organized in order to do that, so that you don't have that moment that we have. If I want it done right, I have to do it myself, because that there are people out there who are more than willing to help you, who are well versed and very trained, and not everyone can step into organized chaos and bring it all together. Some people can, some people cannot. So just being very clear about that, so that you can move forward. And let me tell you, my clients get excited when they call and we're having that conversation, and they're like, oh my goodness, Dr. Nadia, you know, now that I have this person, or I brought on my VA and they're helping me out and they're helping me get things done, or I'm able to pass things off and get things off my plate, so that I can spend time focused on those activities that are truly going to help my business move forward. So I'm going to pop over to the Facebook group just a quick second. I want to make sure I answer any questions. So again, if you have any questions, head on over to Power Profits Academy. Wrong URL, my bad. PowerProfitsMovement.com, PowerProfitsMovement.com, and post any questions. All right, so it doesn't look like we have any questions right now. Good deal. All right, and don't be embarrassed to do that. And key number 3, because one of the things that we think about with hiring is, you know, I'm trusting someone with my vision. I'm trusting someone to come in and get things done and operate at the same level of excellence that I would operate at. Key number 3 is take a test drive. You don't have to marry the person on the first date. One, take the time to properly vet. So that comes with being organized and having clarity. What's the skill set that you need? One of the questions that I'm asked a lot from my clients is, you know, okay, you say I need a virtual assistant, or I think it's time for me to have an assistant. What does that look like? Can I just tell you that that runs the gamut? So you want to be very clear on what it is that you need in an assistant. Do you need an assistant to mail out your books? A lot of you are authors. I work with a lot of authors, and you know, you just released a new book, and maybe you did pre-sales, and now those books, that shipment is in, and you need to sign those puppies and get them in the mail. That may not be the highest and best use of your time. Do you need an assistant to do that? Do you need an assistant to set up your blogs or your newsletters? Or do you need an assistant to go in Infusionsoft or your CRM to get things done? Like, all of those are different skill sets. So you want to take a look at do you need the most help now? And again, just looking at what's coming in the future, because that makes a huge difference in how you're going to get things done. So just be clear, but don't be afraid to test drive. A lot of times when I bring on new staff, I don't commit to this do this whole year. Take it from me, been there, done that, and I paid the price. Let's just say that, paid the price. So let's just take a lesson from Dr. Nadia and do a test drive, 90 days, 30 days, 60 days, whatever the case may be. Like, you know, let's just have this, you know, moment of, let's just get to know one another. Maybe not throw all your projects at them. You want to maybe start with one that's not as high risk. So that brings me to another point that you need to realize, and that's don't wait too long. Don't wait until you're already up to here before you bring on help, because now you're going to be a lot more desperate and a lot less discerning with your selection. So make sure you take the time to go ahead and bring on the people that you need ahead of time, or when you're making that decision. So you want to have your plan as to when, okay, I'm going to bring this person on at this point, because here's where I'm going to go, or here's the support I need, or it may just really taking the time to map that out. But what you don't want to do is be desperate and just throwing Hail Marys, because you're like, I just need help. I just need somebody with a pulse to help me get this done, because take it from me, that tends to bring on a lot more harm and do a lot more harm than good for you in your business. So before we get to some of my favorite keys, which is one part of my favorite part of just firing yourself, because like I said earlier, I've gotten really good at writing myself a pink slip. Some of you may be thinking, you know what, Dr. Nadia, this is a lot of information. And I'm not quite sure how to do that, how to put together. You talked about a growth strategy. How do I do that? Or you talked about self-care. Well, what does that look like? Or building my team or having support, whatever that is. I'm so glad you asked. I would love to have the opportunity to sit down with you and let's just talk about what that looks like and how it might be a great fit for our team to support you and where it is that you want to go. So if that's you, head on over to meetwithdrnadia.com, meetwithdrnadia.com, and schedule some time. Get on my calendar. Let's have a chat. Let's look at your business. Let's take a look at what that growth strategy might look like. Let's look at your self-care plan, all of that stuff. Because let me tell you a little bit about self-care. One is, it's part of the reason why I host an annual retreat, which we are actually, the team and I will be rolling out multiple retreats starting in 2017 because it's so important for women entrepreneurs, particularly women general, women entrepreneurs particularly. And here's the thing, and I want you to write this down. And this is something I read in a book. And it just stuck with me. It just stuck right there. And it's this: change of pace, P-A-C-E, change of pace, plus change of place, P-L-A-C-E, equals change of perspective. Change of pace plus change of place equals change of perspective. And that just really stuck with me because, you know, we spend so much time working in our business and doing things and responding to emails and working with our teams to come up with new launch strategies and writing books and speaking and traveling and all the things that we do. But when do we ever stop to take a step back to work on the business? And especially with things that we thought might work the way we wanted them to work and they don't work, or they work really well. They're like, oh crap, that worked really, really well. You know, it's time to take that time out and have that change of perspective. And so recently, my family was in town and we had some time to get away. And we went to California for a couple days and we went to the beach and, you know, just that pace, see that the pace had slowed. I wasn't constantly in email and I wasn't constantly on the phone because I can live on a phone. And while I was traveling, it wasn't, you know, running through an airport or for an event. I was just chilling and hanging out with my family and spending time with my hubby and spoiling my babies, you know, just having a great time. And this idea popped up. And I'm like, where did that come from? And it was an idea that you'll see more and hear more about a new project that I'm working on, a new book that I had planned to write. But it was just that slowing down, that opportunity to really look at things differently, to be in a more relaxed environment. And so the same is true with a number of my clients. One of my clients, Monica, she attended our retreat last year and just phenomenal woman. And just to take that time to slow down, to spend time with other women, to walk along the beach and take a nap and just daydream for a moment. She thought of some new things and she's been out speaking. She hosted an event this year. It was just phenomenal. It was fabulous. So again, you know, taking off your cape. Even if you have to take it off just for a little while, you could put it back on. I promise you I won't take it. You can put it back on, but just to have that moment to you say, you know what? I just need some time to get away, some time to not do it all. And also don't forget that even when you have the cape on, to be able to have support. So for our last section, because we have about 15 minutes left, I definitely want to honor our time today. We're just going to talk about steps to fire yourself. And this is actually one of my more favorite topics these days, firing myself. So what does that look like? Because it sounds great, right? It's like, that sounds fabulous. I would love to fire myself from certain things, because we all started our businesses because they had a passion to do something. But that doesn't mean we have a passion to do everything in our business. So what does that look like? Step one is to acknowledge that you're the CEO. And I just want you to let that sit there for a moment. Acknowledge that you are the CEO and truly just put that on for size. You're the executive officer. And think about that for a moment. Because many of you may be like, no, that's not right, or no, I'm a business owner, or truly I'm a speaker or trainer, whatever that case. I just want you for a moment to just be uncomfortable if that makes you uncomfortable. And think about being the CEO of a company and not looking at your company at the size that it is now. But I want you to take a moment and just think about your company being the size of Apple. Let's just go with Apple. I mean, Apple's a great example right now in terms of having a large company. And I want you to think about this, because this, when you really start to think about having that mindset shift, even if your revenue or your profits don't change today, they might change tomorrow, but they may not change today. I want you to start just looking at the mindset that comes with being a CEO. And this is why I really stress this point. If you were at Kinko's or your local, your favorite place to go grab copies, the workbooks, especially for those of us who speak, we always have something that we got going on, right? And you walked up into Kinko's and you noticed that there was the CEO of Apple there, picking up copies. What would you think? Like, first of all, many of you are like, Nadia, what are you talking about? Like, Dr. Nadia, that would never happen. Never, 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 never. Apple's this huge company. They have people to go pick up copies. Hell, they probably would just have Kinko's bring the copies to them, deliver them. They would not do that. However the case may be, that's my point. My point that it does not fit. Like, which of these things doesn't belong? That one doesn't belong. And so while tomorrow you may have to pick up the copies because you haven't built your team yet, and that's okay. It's not about shame, but I want you to start paying attention to these activities that you're engaged in and day out, things that you're doing, things that you're making priority, and should they be the priority? But I want you to think about, would the CEO of, and if you don't like Apple, find a company that fits. Would that CEO do this? And start to identify those tasks and begin to look at ways to delegate or automate. Write that down, delegate or automate. Because there are certain things that a lot of us are doing the hard way in our business, and there is software out there, some of it is free, that to delegate it, and automate it, and other pieces we can delegate. And again, it's not always things in your business. Would your toilet be better scrubbed by someone other than you so that you can go on do a speaking engagement or do a webinar or write your book? Like, let's just be real. Let's just be honest. Let's keep it real right now. I love a clean toilet just like the next girl, and I'm a CEO. And so I want you to begin to think about that. And whatever your overall revenue goal is, to think about, what would a CEO of a company this size do? And begin to start asking yourself that question and filtering those decisions through that lens, and you'll take off the cape. You'll begin to start to delegate. You'll begin to build your team. And here's the interesting thing, because the statistics show that there are millions of businesses, women-owned, and I want to say that number is around 9 million. Forgive me if I don't have it exactly correct, but the bottom line is there are multi-million women-owned businesses, and less than 4% ever hit that 7-figure mark. But research shows that the companies that do, they have teams, they have employees, they brought in the help. So when you're thinking about building your business, and you may not want to be a 7-figure business or an 8-figure business. People say, I just want to, Dr. Nadia, have a business where I can take summers off. I have colleagues and friends that's their vision. I just want to take the summer off, especially those of you with children. One of my colleagues, I was talking to her earlier, she was like, I just want to be able to travel if I was in a different location each month. Like, whatever, your vision. It's your vision. Do it. But here's the thing. You can't do it by yourself. And own that and taking off that cape and being able to have that support and knowing that you don't have to do it alone. And that's the key. That was a question I asked at the beginning of the webinar. Are you willing to receive support? Because there are many times that people come along and they're willing to support us, whether it's our husband by, taking the kids out to the park or cooking dinner, or some of you may be saying, I wish, no, we're the case, or even having a colleague or your mastermind members who are willing to support you in your next launch. Whatever the case may be, are you willing to receive it? Because here's what I've noticed too, and I've been guilty of this, is the support has come. People have offered, and I've said no. So are you willing to receive it? And then once you're willing, you'll start taking the steps necessary in order to move forward. And these are the key strategies that I teach in the Inner Circle program, where I work with a small group of womanpreneurs, and we get together and we not only support, because it's not all about me. I don't always have all the answers, but it's about having a community of sisters that come together and support you in your big vision and support you in moving forward and reminding you of that. Because I have an assistant who reminds me that, hello, that's what I'm here for. That's what you pay me to do, is to support you and to take some of these things off your plate. And we need that. All right. Key number 2 is to develop a plan. And I know I touched on that, but you have to develop the plan of what comes first, how you should do it, who do you need, what's the fee? Part of the plan is, how much is that going to cost me? How much is a housekeeper? I remember the first time I was thinking about a housekeeper. I don't know what I thought the fee was going to be or what that investment might look like. But trust me, when I heard the numbers, I was astonished. Like, that's it? Like, it just was like, oh, that's not nearly as bad as I thought it might be. And the same is true for you. Some things may be a little like, oh, that's a little bit more. But you might be pleasantly surprised at how simple and affordable it is to get the support that you need. And remember, it's not just delegation in terms of people support, but it's also an automation. What are some of those tools and systems that you can start to systematize your business so that you're not having to do everything manually? You're not going out like I was to events and doing everything the hard way. Like, there are certain things that you can do in terms of data collection and lead generation and follow-up that can be automated. And it doesn't have to break the bank. So being able to look at those tools and resources and get things set up so that your business can flourish and you not be burned out. Because you're not a very nice person when you're burned out. And you're like, Dr. Nadia, but you don't even know me. But I know me. And I've seen what it looks like when we're tired and we're stressed and we're just angry all the time. So yes, so take off your cape and be willing to accept support. And then the last key is to firing yourself and taking your rightful place as CEO is take decisive action. Not just any type of action, but taking decisive action, making a decision and moving forward. Not attending a webinar like this one, taking a bunch of notes and saying, oh, that was really great information, and not moving forward with it. Like, there are things that can help you right now to achieve the goals that you have aspired to achieve and to help you move forward in your business. So again, really quickly, today we talked about the myth of being a superwoman in your business. We discussed strategies to hiring a team, but more importantly, we discussed 3 key strategies to firing yourself and taking your rightful place as CEO. So really quickly, I'm going to head on over to the Facebook group to see if there are any questions, any final comments that you may have. And again, if you want to meet with me, you're like, no, you know what, Dr. Nadia, you touched on a lot of different things. Maybe you want to be part of our Inner Circle. I love our Inner Circle program. It's no more than 12 women. I have the opportunity to work very closely with them. I had to keep it small. I travel a lot and I love to travel. So I don't plan to stop it anytime soon. But I also know that there's that, there's power in unity. There's power in being surrounded by people who are like you, that are like-minded. And I like to say, find your type of crazy. So find those people that are just as crazy as you are, and they're like, you know what, girlfriend, you got this. And if you're interested, head on over to meetwithdrnadia.com. That's meetwithdrnadia.com, meetwithdrnadia.com, and let's just schedule time to chat. I will share more details with you about the Inner Circle program, about our upcoming retreat, answering questions about building your team, whatever it is. Let's get on the phone. Let's have a virtual coffee chat, about half an hour, and let's just do that. Head on over to meetwithdrnadia.com, and let me just check our Facebook group really quick. Make sure there are no questions in the group right now. Looks like there are no questions, no comments. Good deal. Because I definitely want you all to get this, that taking off your cape, building your team, getting the support that you need is so key to reducing your stress and increasing your profits. And one of the lies that we believe is that if I don't build a team, if I try to do this all by myself, then I don't have to pay anyone, which may or may not be true, because there's always that opportunity cost, right? And that's going to help me to generate faster profits in my business. And that's not the case. So be willing to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength when you can say, you know what, here are all the things that I'm really good at. And these are the things that Nadia needs to do. When someone hires me for a speaking engagement, I need to show up. I can't send my proxy. But here are all the things that need to take place in my business, but they don't need to be done by me. And I want you to write that down. There are things that need to take place in my business. There are things that need to be done in my business, but they don't have to be done by me. Take it from me. If you want to grow your business, you want to accelerate your revenue growth, you have to take off your cape. I am so excited. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've had so much fun today. So we'll definitely do this again. And again, head on over, schedule some time for us to chat at meetwithdrnadia.com. Would love to have a one-on-one conversation with you. And join us for our next broadcast, which will be coming up very, very soon. This is Dr. Nadia Brown, your champion for womenpreneurs. Thank you for joining today's broadcast of Take Off Your Cape. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.